music and the shopping. But then Sophie had discovered the etiquette, the crowds, the rivalry, and she'd ended up gritting her teeth through the endless society events. Until this year, and Abraham, the Earl of Kelmarsh disliked his given name, thinking it hideously old-fashioned and always shortened it. Sophie rather liked the full version, solemn and strong. Despite serious misgivings at following Miss Harper's advice, she strode towards the library as best she could in a satin frilly ball gown with pale pink gauze overdress. Miss Harper was simply jealous, of course. Bram was an earl, and a fine-looking one at that. His character, although unassuming, was of a gentle nature, kind and, yes, intelligent, for despite his unfortunate snoozing foible and occasional sluggish demeanour, she often discerned a sharp gleam to his eye. It wasn't obvious, she acknowledged, as his silver-rimmed spectacles obscured one's view. Sophie had only seen him once without his spectacles, but it was a moment she would always remember. On readying himself to propose marriage, he'd removed them. She'd been surprised, shocked, and mildly amused. Would he be able to see to propose, or would he ask the Shays to marry him? After setting his spectacles on the sideboard, he'd prowled over to her, and then she'd seen them. Eyes of the deepest sapphire blue, so unusual with his chestnut-brown hair. She knew it was a cliché, but they did remind her of the ocean. Years ago, on a hot summer boat crossing to Ireland, the sea had glinted that same colour. Not shallow pools or grey expanse, but a deep cerulean. Coquettish laughter rang through the hallway, and Sophie squeezed herself into an alcove as a couple weaved their way past. Evidently, she should have explored the back rooms more often during her 5 seasons of balls and routs, as they were truly fascinating, but good girls didn't, and she supposed all these lurid goings-on were the reason why not. As the voices faded, she set off again, her slippers soundless on the marble floor. Would Bram embrace her when she found him? Kiss her? The thought produced a shiver of excitement within. They'd kissed after she'd accepted his proposal, and it hadn't been at all what she'd expected. Thinking she knew Bram's nature, she'd expected a tentative, lazy peck. That assumption had been terribly flawed. His darkened eyes had nared and glinted with a mysterious light. One firm hand had caught her nape, and those lips had descended. Fierce and passionate, the man had kissed like a god. Not that she'd been kissed by a god, or in fact anyone else before, not like that. Their mouths had met in perfect coordination, despite her total lack of experience. A low rumble had sounded in Bram's throat, and he'd pressed harder, his whole body. A door slammed somewhere, and now the library loomed ahead. Luckily, the hostess's daughter was a friend, and hence Sophie knew the vague layout of this townhouse. Otherwise, she might have been days, lost and wandering the Trowbridge residence. She lifted her fist to knock, as opening doors uninvited, she now felt, was a somewhat foolish occupation. But before her knuckles could touch the surface, a low, purring growl oozed from within. Sophie sighed. Another amorous couple, and no Bram, she'd have to— "Celeste, not now." At the voice, Sophie froze, stiller than the statue of Hephaestus, currently growling his marble displeasure from a plinth to one side. "You did not say that last time, mon tigre," the teasing French accent fawned. "In fact, you asked for more, no?" Sophie's sharp breath echoed along the hall, and she thrust her ear to the door. Surely she was mistaken. A faint sound of rustling, a female sigh, that familiar male voice again. "Celeste," but this time with a pleading tone. Sophie closed her eyes as a nagging ache started to tingle her body. She tamped it down. It wasn't. It couldn't be. "Mon chou, we do a little bit, Bram?" The pain erupted, sharp and unforgiving. "I am neither a tiger, cabbage, nor sweet bun, Celeste, but an almost betrothed man. You know why I am here." Relief swamped Sophie. He didn't want the unknown French cat. All would be well. "Mon Dieu, a tedious, plump Englishwoman could never satisfy you. Dull and boring. I see her."